Hey, beautiful Pisces souls, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you're here with me today because what we're about to dive into, honestly, I wasn't even sure if I should do this reading at first, but the cards literally wouldn't let me rest until I pulled them for you, so here we are. Before we start, I just want to say that if this resonates with you, if you feel like the universe put this message in your path for a reason, stick around until the end, because what's coming through is profound. And if you're new here, welcome to our little community where we explore what the cards really want us to know. So the question we're asking today is pretty direct, and it's something I know a lot of you have been feeling in your gut. Are you ready to hear the truth that's about to come out of someone's mouth? Because Pisces, this person, they swore up and down, they promised you things, they looked you right in the eye and made you believe them. But in the end, they lied. And the cards are about to show us exactly what's been going on behind the scenes. I'm going to be completely honest with you right from the start. This reading isn't going to sugarcoat anything, but it's also not here to hurt you. It's here to set you free. Because sometimes the truth is the only thing that can actually liberate us from the stories we've been telling ourselves. Let me shuffle these cards and see what wants to come through for you today. The energy I'm already feeling is intense, like there's been so much deception swirling around you, but also this sense that clarity is finally breaking through, like the fog is lifting and you're about to see things exactly as they are. All right, I'm pulling the first card now, and I want you to take a deep breath with me because whatever comes through, we're going to face it together. The first card I'm seeing here is the Seven of Swords, and honestly, Pisces, this card doesn't mess around. When the Seven of Swords shows up, we're talking about deception, sneakiness, someone who's been operating in the shadows. And given our question today, this makes complete sense. This person you're asking about, they've been playing games with you. The Seven of Swords is literally the card of the thief in the night, the person who takes what they want and slips away before anyone can catch them. What's really interesting about this card is the imagery. In most decks, you see someone carrying swords away from a camp, tiptoeing, looking back over their shoulder. They know what they're doing is wrong, they know they're being deceitful, but they're doing it anyway because they think they can get away with it. They think they're clever enough to never get caught. And Pisces, this is exactly what's been happening in your situation. This person has been taking from you emotionally, maybe even materially, while pretending to be something they're not. They've been wearing a mask, playing a role, feeding you lies that they rehearsed in their head. Every promise they made, every time they looked at you with those sincere eyes and swore they meant what they said, it was part of a strategy. It was calculated. I know that's hard to hear because you're Pisces. You're the zodiac sign that wants to believe in the good in people. You're the one who gives chance after chance because you can feel the potential in others. You can see who they could be if they just tried. And this person knew that about you. They knew your compassionate nature, your willingness to forgive, your tendency to see the best in people even when they're showing you their worst. And they used it against you. The Seven of Swords is telling us that this wasn't accidental. This wasn't someone who made mistakes or got confused about their feelings. This was intentional deception. They knew exactly what they were doing every step of the way. When they swore to you, when they made those promises, when they told you things would be different this time, they already knew they were lying. They already had their exit strategy planned. What I'm also picking up from this card is that they thought they were smarter than you. They genuinely believed they could manipulate you indefinitely, that you'd never figure out what was really going on. There's this arrogance in the Seven of Swords energy, this belief that they're so clever, so smooth, that they'll never face consequences for their actions. But here's what they didn't count on, Pisces: your intuition. You might be compassionate and forgiving, but you're also one of the most intuitive signs in the zodiac. You feel things other people miss. You sense energy shifts before they become obvious, and even if you've been trying to ignore it, even if you've been pushing down those gut feelings because you wanted so badly to believe in this person, somewhere deep inside, you've known something was off. You felt the deception even when you couldn't name it. The Seven of Swords is confirmation that your intuition has been right all along. Those moments when you felt like something didn't add up, when their story changed slightly, when their energy felt different, when you caught them in small inconsistencies that they brushed off as misunderstandings. Those weren't you being paranoid or insecure. That was your inner wisdom trying to protect you, trying to show you the truth that your heart didn't want to see. What's coming through strongly here is that this person has been living a double life in some way. Not necessarily in the dramatic sense of having a secret family or anything like that, though for some of you that might actually be the case. But more often, what I'm seeing is that they've been presenting one version of themselves to you while being a completely different person with others or when you're not around. They've been telling you one thing and their friends another thing. They've been making promises to you while having entirely different plans in their mind. The Seven of Swords can also indicate someone who's been spreading lies about you, talking behind your back while smiling to your face. This person might have been painting themselves as the victim in your story to other people, twisting the narrative to make you look bad while they look innocent. They've been stealing your peace, your trust, your energy, and then acting like they're the one who's been wronged. And the really painful part about this card is that it shows someone who's good at what they do. They're convincing, they know how to say the right things at the right time. They know how to make you doubt your own perceptions. When you'd bring up concerns, they probably made you feel like you were overthinking, being too sensitive, imagining things. They'd flip it around somehow, make you apologize for not trusting them, make you feel guilty for having perfectly valid questions. That's the real skill of the Seven of Swords energy. It's not just about lying. It's about being so smooth in the lying that the other person starts to question their own reality. It's about creating confusion and doubt so that you can never quite pin them down, never quite catch them in the act, even when you know something's wrong. But Pisces, here's what I want you to understand about this card appearing first in your reading. Yes, it confirms the deception. Yes, it validates that this person has been lying to you, but it's also showing you that their game is about to be up. The Seven of Swords might show someone sneaking away, but they're also shown in full daylight in most decks. They're visible. They can be seen. And that's exactly what's about to happen in your situation. Everything they've been hiding is about to come to light. The universe is pulling back the curtain on this person's deception. You're going to hear things from their own mouth that confirm what you've been sensing all along. And as painful as that truth might be, it's also going to be incredibly liberating because you'll finally have clarity. You'll finally be able to stop questioning yourself and start trusting your intuition again. Let me pull the next card because I'm really curious what else wants to come through about this situation. Okay, so the second card is the Ace of Pentacles, and this is actually really interesting in this context. The Ace of Pentacles usually represents new beginnings in the material world, opportunities, prosperity, something tangible and real. But in this reading, what I'm picking up is that this card is showing us what they used to lure you in. What was the bait? What did they promise you that made you want to believe their lies? The Ace of Pentacles represents potential. It's the seed of something that could grow into abundance, security, stability, and I think this person dangled exactly that in front of you. They promised you something real, something solid, something you could build your life on. Maybe they talked about a future together, about building something substantial. Maybe they promised financial security or partnership in business. Maybe they painted pictures of the life you could have together, the home you'd create, the stability you'd finally achieve. For Pisces specifically, I know how much you crave that grounding energy. You're a water sign, you flow, you dream, you exist in the realm of emotions and intuition. And sometimes that can feel exhausting, like you need something solid to anchor you. So when someone comes along offering you that Ace of Pentacles energy, that promise of something real and lasting and tangible, it's incredibly appealing. This person knew what you needed to hear. They studied you, whether consciously or unconsciously, and they figured out what would make you invest in them. They knew you wanted security. They knew you wanted someone reliable. They knew you wanted to build something real. So they offered you that Ace of Pentacles, that shiny new beginning, that promise of abundance and stability. But here's the thing about an ace. It's just potential. It's not the actual manifestation yet. It's the seed, not the tree. It's the idea, not the reality. And what this person did was keep you focused on the potential, on what could be, on what they promised would happen, without ever actually following through and turning that potential into reality. How many times did they make plans with you that fell through? How many times did they promise something concrete was coming? Just wait a little longer, be patient, trust the process. How many times did you feel like you were on the verge of that breakthrough, that solid commitment, that real beginning, only to have it postponed or explained away or transformed into yet another promise for the future? The Ace of Pentacles in this position is showing me that they used your hopes against you. They kept that carrot dangling just out of reach, close enough that you could almost taste it, but never quite letting you grab it. And every time you got close to walking away, every time your intuition screamed at you that something was wrong, they'd pull out that ace again. They'd remind you of what you could have together. They'd make another promise. They'd paint another picture of the future. And you'd stay, hoping this time would be different. What's really coming through here is that this person never had any intention of actually planting that seed and nurturing it into something real. They just knew that as long as they kept showing you the ace, as long as they kept talking about potential and possibilities and future abundance, you'd stick around. They were using the promise of something solid to keep you invested in something that was actually completely unstable and built on lies. I'm also getting that for some of you, there might have been actual financial deception involved. The Ace of Pentacles can be literal money, resources, material goods. Did this person borrow money from you with promises to pay it back? Did they involve you in some kind of business venture or investment opportunity that now seems questionable? Did they have access to your resources in some way? Because I'm seeing that the deception might not have been just emotional. For some of you, they might have actually taken material things from you while promising you material abundance. But even if the deception wasn't literally financial, the energy is the same. They took something of value from you, your time, your energy, your trust, your emotional investment, and they gave you nothing solid in return. They gave you words, they gave you promises, they gave you that Ace of Pentacles to look at and dream about, but they never actually gave you the real thing. And here's what's really painful about this. The Ace of Pentacles is such a positive card normally. It's about genuine new beginnings, real opportunities, actual abundance. So the fact that it's showing up in a reading about deception and lies tells me that this person took something beautiful and corrupted it. They took your natural desire for security and stability and they weaponized it. They turned your dreams into manipulation tactics. That's what makes this kind of deception so insidious, Pisces. It's not obviously cruel. It's not violent or aggressive. It's wrapped up in pretty promises and exciting possibilities. It looks like love, like partnership, like someone who wants to build a future with you. But underneath all those sweet words and grand plans, there's nothing solid. There's no real foundation. There's no genuine intention to follow through. What I want you to take from this card is that you weren't stupid for believing them. The Ace of Pentacles is genuinely appealing. The promises they made were things any reasonable person would want. The future they painted was beautiful. You weren't wrong for being attracted to that vision. You weren't naive for hoping it could be real. You were just dealing with someone who was willing to lie about their intentions to keep you hooked. And the truth that's about to come out, the confession you're going to hear from their own mouth, is going to reveal that they never intended to make good on those promises. They were always just words, just images, just that ace held out in front of you like a magician's trick to distract you from what was really happening behind the scenes. Let me see what the next card wants to tell us. All right, the third card I'm pulling is the Five of Pentacles. And wow, this one hits hard. The Five of Pentacles is traditionally about hardship, loss, feeling left out in the cold. It's often shown as two figures walking through snow past a church window, symbolizing feeling abandoned, struggling, being in a state of lack while seeing abundance so close but unreachable. And in the context of this reading, what this card is showing me is the real impact of this person's lies on you. While they were playing games with the Seven of Swords and dangling the Ace of Pentacles in front of you, you were actually experiencing the Five of Pentacles. You were suffering. You were feeling abandoned. You were struggling emotionally and maybe even materially. This is what they don't want to acknowledge, Pisces. This is what they'll probably try to minimize when the truth comes out. But the cards don't lie, and the Five of Pentacles is telling me that their deception had real consequences for you. It wasn't just a harmless game or a little white lie or a misunderstanding. It caused you genuine pain and hardship. I'm seeing that while you were invested in this connection, while you were believing their promises and holding on to hope for that Ace of Pentacles future, You were actually neglecting yourself in some way. Maybe you put your own goals on hold, waiting for them to follow through on their commitments. Maybe you turned down other opportunities because you were loyal to this person and what you thought you were building together. Maybe you isolated yourself from friends or family who were trying to warn you about this person. The Five of Pentacles can also indicate financial struggle, and I'm wondering if being involved with this person cost you materially. Did you support them financially? Did you make financial decisions based on promises they made that never materialized? Did you invest money or resources into something they convinced you was a good idea? Because this card is showing me actual loss, not just emotional disappointment, but even beyond the material or practical level, what's really coming through with this card is the emotional and spiritual poverty you've been experiencing. The Five of Pentacles is about feeling disconnected from your source of warmth and light. That church window in the traditional image represents spiritual sanctuary, and the figures are walking past it, not even realizing that help and warmth are right there if they just turn around and go inside. And I think that's what's been happening to you, Pisces. This person and their lies have disconnected you from your own inner light. You've been so focused on them, so consumed with trying to make sense of their mixed signals and broken promises, so invested in fixing whatever was wrong between you, that you've walked right past your own sources of comfort and healing. Your intuition, your spiritual practice, your connection to the divine, your relationships with people who genuinely care about you, all of that has been right there, offering you warmth and sanctuary. But you've been so caught up in this situation, so determined to make it work, so hopeful that they'd finally follow through, that you couldn't see what was actually available to you. The Five of Pentacles is showing me that you've been in a state of emotional poverty while believing you were investing in future abundance. You've been hungry for real love, real commitment, real partnership, but you've been trying to get it from someone who was offering you nothing but empty calories. They've been feeding you just enough to keep you from walking away, but never enough to actually nourish you. And here's what really gets me about this card in your reading. The Five of Pentacles often appears when someone is experiencing a dark night of the soul, when they're questioning everything they believed in, when their faith is being tested. And I think that's exactly what this person's deception has put you through. You're someone who naturally believes in love, in connection, in the good in people. You're Pisces, you're ruled by Neptune, you're literally the sign of universal love and compassion. But this person's lies have made you question all of that. They've made you wonder if you're just naive. They've made you doubt your ability to read people accurately. They've made you scared to trust again. They've created a kind of spiritual crisis where you're not sure what's real anymore, where you're questioning your own judgment and intuition at the deepest level. That's the real cost of their deception, Pisces. It's not just about the specific lies they told or the promises they broke. It's about how it's affected your relationship with yourself, with your own inner knowing, with your ability to trust in love and goodness. They've taken your natural openness and made it feel like a liability. They've taken your compassion and made it feel like a weakness. The Five of Pentacles is also telling me that you might have been dealing with this situation while going through other challenges in your life. Maybe you've been struggling with health issues, financial stress, family problems, career difficulties. And instead of this person being a source of support during those hard times, they were actually adding to your burden. They were creating more problems, more stress, more confusion, exactly when you needed someone to lean on. I'm seeing that there might have been times when you reached out to them for help, for support, for comfort, and they weren't there for you. Or worse, they made promises to be there and then disappeared when you actually needed them. The Five of Pentacles shows abandonment, and I think you felt abandoned by this person over and over again, even while they were still technically in your life. What's coming through really strongly is that you've been trying to find warmth in a cold place. You've been knocking on a door that was never going to open for you. You've been standing outside in the snow, hoping someone would invite you in, while that someone was inside enjoying the warmth and not giving a thought to your suffering. But here's what I want you to know about the Five of Pentacles, and this is really important. This card appears just before the Six of Pentacles in the tarot sequence. The Six of Pentacles is about giving and receiving, about generosity, about resources flowing freely, about balance being restored. So the Five of Pentacles, as difficult as it is actually showing you that you're in the darkness just before the dawn. You're at the lowest point, but you're also right on the verge of things getting better. The truth that's about to come out, as painful as it will be to hear, is actually the beginning of your movement out of this Five of Pentacles energy. Because right now, you're still in the cold, still suffering. But you're suffering while holding on to hope that this person might change, that the situation might improve, that your investment might pay off. And that hope, as beautiful as it is actually keeping you stuck outside in the snow. When you hear the truth from their own mouth, when you have absolute confirmation that they lied and they never intended to honor their promises, it's going to hurt. It's going to feel like a betrayal of everything you believed in. But it's also going to free you to finally turn around and walk into that church, into that warm, safe, sacred space that's been waiting for you all along. You'll finally be able to stop banging your head against their locked door and turn toward the doors that are actually open to you. Let me pull the next card because I want to see what else the universe wants you to know. The fourth card coming through is the Seven of Pentacles, and this is really interesting after the Five of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles is about assessment, about taking stock of your investments, about looking at what you've planted and seeing what's actually growing. It's traditionally shown as someone standing in a garden, looking at their crops, evaluating whether their hard work is paying off. And in your reading, Pisces, this card is telling me that you've been doing exactly that. You've been standing back and looking at this relationship, this situation, this connection with this person, and you've been trying to figure out if your investment has been worth it. You've been asking yourself if all the time, energy, emotion, hope, patience, and forgiveness you've poured into this has produced anything real. The Seven of Pentacles is a card of patience, but it's also a card of realistic evaluation. It's not about blind optimism or just waiting and hoping things will magically improve. It's about actually looking at the evidence in front of you and making an honest assessment. It's about being willing to see what's really there, not what you wish was there. And I think you've been in this Seven of Pentacles energy for a while now. You've been watching, waiting, hoping, but also increasingly questioning. You've been giving this person the benefit of the doubt, making excuses for them, explaining away the red flags, but some part of you has been keeping track. Some part of you has been noticing that the garden isn't producing what was promised. When you plant seeds, you expect to see growth over time. You expect that your care and attention will result in something tangible. And that's what you've been doing in this connection. You planted seeds of trust, of vulnerability, of love. You watered them with your patience and understanding. You gave them time to grow. And now you're standing there in your garden looking around and realizing that what's grown isn't what you were promised it would be. The Seven of Pentacles often comes up when someone has invested a lot in something and they're starting to wonder if they should cut their losses or if they should keep investing. It's a moment of decision, a crossroads. Do you keep pouring your energy into something that isn't giving you the returns you expected? Or do you take what you've learned and redirect your resources somewhere more fruitful? And I think that's exactly where you are right now, Pisces. You've been patient. You've given this situation so much time and energy. You've believed in the potential, just like that Ace of Pentacles promised. But now you're in this Seven of Pentacles moment where you're being honest with yourself about what's actually manifested. And it's not what they promised you, is it? What's coming through strongly here is that you've been loyal almost to a fault. The Seven of Pentacles shows dedication, someone who doesn't give up easily, someone who's willing to put in the work and wait for results. And that's you, Pisces. You're not someone who bails at the first sign of trouble. You're not someone who gives up when things get hard. You understand that real things take time to build. You're willing to be patient and nurturing and supportive. But this card is also showing me that you're starting to see the difference between patience and being strung along. You're starting to recognize the difference between something that's growing slowly but surely and something that was never actually planted in the first place. Because when you look at this garden, when you really assess what's there, you're seeing that the harvest doesn't match the promises that were made. The Seven of Pentacles can also indicate weariness. It shows someone who's tired from all the work they've put in. And I think you're exhausted, Pisces. You're tired of hoping, tired of waiting, tired of making excuses, tired of defending this person to yourself and maybe to others, tired of trying to figure out what's real and what's manipulation. There's a part of you that just wants to walk away from this garden and start fresh somewhere else. But there's also that part of you that's invested so much already that doesn't want all that time and energy and emotion to have been for nothing. That's the dilemma of the Seven of Pentacles. You've put in so much work that walking away feels like admitting defeat, like wasting everything you've invested. But here's what the card is really trying to tell you, and this is crucial. Assessment isn't about stubbornly clinging to something just because you've already invested in it. Smart assessment means being willing to recognize when something isn't working and being courageous enough to redirect your energy. Sometimes the wisest thing you can do with a garden that isn't producing is to let it go fallow and plant somewhere else. The truth that's coming out, the lies that are about to be exposed, they're actually going to make this assessment much clearer for you. Right now, you might still be in that space of wondering if you're being too harsh, if you should give them one more chance, if maybe you're not seeing the whole picture. But when you hear from their own mouth that they lied, that they never intended to follow through, that they've been playing games with you all along, it's going to crystallize your assessment. You'll be able to look at your garden and say definitively, this person never planted real seeds here. They told me they did. They showed me pictures of what could grow. They talked about the harvest we'd share. But they never actually put anything real into the ground. They never intended for anything genuine to grow here. And all the time I spent watering and weeding and waiting, I was tending to a garden that was never meant to produce anything. That recognition, as painful as it is actually incredibly valuable because it frees you from the trap of the Seven of Pentacles. It releases you from the question of whether you should keep investing. It gives you permission to walk away without guilt, without wondering what if, without feeling like you gave up too soon. You'll know with absolute certainty that you gave this situation every possible chance, and it failed not because of anything you did or didn't do, but because the other person was never sincere in their planting. I am also seeing with this card that you've learned so much from this experience, even though it's been painful. The Seven of Pentacles is about gaining wisdom from your investments, even the ones that don't pay off the way you hoped. You've learned about your own patterns, your own vulnerabilities, the ways you can be manipulated when you want to believe in something badly enough. You've learned to trust your intuition, even when it's telling you things you don't want to hear. You've learned the difference between genuine potential and empty promises. And all of that wisdom, that's your real harvest from this situation. That's what you get to take with you. When you plant your next garden, whether it's a relationship or a project or anything else, you're going to plant it with so much more wisdom and discernment. You're going to be able to tell the difference between someone who's actually putting in the work and someone who's just talking about it. You're going to trust your assessment earlier in the process instead of overriding your concerns to give someone yet another chance. The Seven of Pentacles is preparing you for the Eight of Pentacles, which is about mastery and skill and dedication to your craft. You're developing mastery in reading people, in trusting yourself, in protecting your energy. This painful situation is actually teaching you invaluable skills that will serve you for the rest of your life. Let me pull another card to see what else wants to come through. Okay, the fifth card here is the Eight of Wands, and this is actually bringing some relief to this reading. The Eight of Wands is all about swift movement, things happening quickly, messages coming through, delays finally ending. It's one of the fastest cards in the tarot, showing arrows flying through the air heading directly toward their target. And what this is telling me, Pisces, is that the truth is coming at you fast. That confession, that moment when you hear from their own mouth what they've really been doing, it's not far off. The Eight of Wands doesn't mess around with slow reveals or gradual realizations. It's sudden, it's clear, it's undeniable. All the cloudiness and confusion you've been experiencing, all the doubt and uncertainty, all the wondering if you're reading the situation correctly, that's about to be blasted away by the clarity of the Eight of Wands. This is truth delivered at high speed, truth that can't be explained away or minimized or spun into something else. I'm seeing that this revelation might come in the form of a message. The Eight of Wands often represents communication, emails, texts, phone calls, things being said that can't be unsaid. So this person is going to tell you something, or you're going to find out something, and it's going to happen quickly, and probably when you're not expecting it. What's interesting about the Eight of Wands appearing in this reading is that it suggests this person might not have planned to tell you the truth. The speed and suddenness of this card makes me think that something's going to happen that forces the truth out. Maybe they'll slip up and say something they didn't mean to reveal. Maybe someone else will tell you something that makes everything click into place. Maybe you'll see or find something that makes the truth undeniable. The Eight of Wands is also about things that have been delayed finally moving forward. And I think you've been in a holding pattern for a while, Pisces. You've been waiting for clarity, waiting for things to make sense, waiting for this person to either fully commit or fully release you. And the Eight of Wands is saying that waiting period is about to end. Things are about to move very quickly. This card can also indicate multiple things happening at once. So it might not just be one revelation, one lie exposed. It might be several things coming to light rapidly, one after another, until you have a complete picture of what's really been going on. Like dominoes falling, once one truth comes out, others follow quickly behind it. I'm getting that the energy around this is actually going to feel like a relief in some ways, even though the content of what you learn is going to be painful. Because right now, you're in confusion and uncertainty, and that's one of the most difficult states to be in. The Eight of Wands brings clarity, and even when clarity shows us something we don't want to see, it's still better than being stuck in confusion. There's also something about the Eight of Wands that suggests things falling into place. You know when you've been trying to figure out a puzzle and suddenly all the pieces click together and you can see the whole picture? That's what this card is indicating. All the little things that didn't quite make sense, all the moments when their story didn't add up, all the times your intuition pinged but you couldn't quite articulate why, it's all going to suddenly make perfect sense. The Eight of Wands is showing me that once you have this clarity, once you hear the truth from their mouth, you're also going to move quickly. You're not going to sit around processing and wondering what to do. The card shows arrows in flight, and you're going to be one of those arrows. You're going to know immediately what needs to happen next, and you're going to act on it. For some of you, that might mean ending the connection swiftly and decisively. For others, it might mean confronting this person with what you know and not accepting any more excuses or explanations. For others still, it might mean taking practical steps to protect yourself or your resources. Whatever action is right for your situation, you're going to know it instantly, and you're going to move on it without hesitation. What I love about the Eight of Wands after all the heavy Pentacles energy we've been seeing is that it represents a breaking free. Those Pentacles cards were about being stuck, about weighing things down, about slow, grinding difficulty. But the Eight of Wands is air and fire, it's movement and clarity and breakthrough. It's like you've been underwater holding your breath and suddenly you're going to surface and gulp in huge lungfuls of fresh air. The truth will set you free. That old saying, that's what this card is promising you. Yes, it's going to hurt to hear what this person has to say. Yes, you're going to have to face the fact that they lied and manipulated you. Yes, there will be grief and anger and all sorts of difficult emotions, but underneath all of that, there's going to be this sense of, finally, I know what's real. Finally, I can stop questioning myself. Finally, I can stop trying to make sense of nonsense. The Eight of Wands is also telling me that after this revelation, you're going to be able to move forward in other areas of your life that have been stuck. It's like this situation has been holding everything else hostage. And once you have clarity about it, everything else can start moving too. Opportunities that have been delayed, decisions you've been putting off, things you wanted to do but felt you couldn't because of this situation, all of that is going to start flowing again. I'm seeing that the speed of the Eight of Wands might catch you off guard. You might have been preparing yourself for a slow, gradual realization, or for having to do detective work to figure out the truth. But this card is saying no, it's going to be fast and direct and impossible to miss. One moment you're in confusion, the next moment you have absolute clarity. And honestly, Pisces, I think that's exactly what you need. You've been patient enough. You've been understanding enough. You've given this person enough time and chances. What you need now is swift, undeniable truth so you can finally move on with your life and stop wasting your precious energy on someone who doesn't deserve it. Let me see what the next card wants to add to this message. The sixth card I'm seeing is the Four of Wands, and this is actually bringing a really beautiful energy into this reading. The Four of Wands is traditionally a card of celebration, homecoming, stability, and joy. It often shows people dancing under a beautiful canopy of flowers and wands, celebrating something worth celebrating. And what this card is showing me is what's waiting for you on the other side of this painful truth. Yes, you're going to have to face deception and lies. Yes, you're going to have to grieve what you thought this connection was. Yes, there's difficulty ahead, but beyond that difficulty, there's genuine joy and stability waiting for you. The Four of Wands is about coming home to yourself, Pisces. It's about finding peace and security within your own being, in your own life, with your own people. While this person was lying to you and making false promises about building something together, what was really happening was that you were being prepared to build something real on your own, or with people who genuinely care about you. I'm seeing that once you're free from this deceptive connection, you're going to experience a kind of relief and lightness that you haven't felt in a long time. The Four of Wands is about celebrating authentic connections, and you're going to reconnect with the people who truly love you, who've been waiting for you to come back to yourself, who've been watching you struggle with this person and wishing they could help you see what they could see. This card often represents family or chosen family, the people who are your real support system. And I think you're going to find or rediscover your tribe, your people, the ones who celebrate you for who you actually are instead of manipulating you for what they can get from you. The contrast is going to be striking. You're going to wonder how you ever mistook that person's manipulation for love when you remember what real love and real support actually feel like. The Four of Wands is also about creating stability and security, but this time it's real stability, not the fake promise of the Ace of Pentacles. This is you building a foundation in your own life that's solid, because it's based on truth, on your actual values, on connections with people who are genuine. You're not going to need someone else's promises anymore because you're going to be creating your own security. What's really beautiful about this card appearing in your reading is that it suggests you're going to find joy again. Real joy, not the anxious hope you've been experiencing where you're constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. The Four of Wands is uncomplicated happiness, celebration, feeling at peace with where you are and who you're with. I'm also getting that there might be an actual celebration or happy event coming for you after you move through this difficult revelation. Maybe a graduation, a new home, a career achievement, a reconnection with someone important, or just a moment where you gather with people you love and realize you're happy, genuinely happy, in a way you haven't been for a long time. The Four of Wands shows a threshold, a gateway. You're crossing from one phase of your life into another. The phase you're leaving behind was characterized by confusion, manipulation, and false promises. The phase you're entering is going to be characterized by clarity, authenticity, and real connections. And that threshold, that crossing point, is the moment you hear the truth from this person's mouth and finally let go of the illusion. This card is also telling me that you're going to rediscover your sense of home within yourself. As Pisces, you're so good at adapting to others, at flowing around obstacles, at making yourself fit into spaces that weren't designed for you. And I think with this person, you twisted yourself into shapes that weren't natural for you, trying to be what they needed you to be, trying to make the relationship work despite all the signs that it couldn't. But the Four of Wands is about standing firmly in who you are, about having a stable center that doesn't change based on who you're with. It's about creating a life that feels like home because it's authentically yours, not because someone else is promising to build one with you someday. What I'm also picking up is that this card represents the blessings that were being blocked by this connection. The Four of Wands is a card of abundance and positive energy, but that energy couldn't fully reach you while you were entangled with someone who was draining you and lying to you. Once you're free, once you've cleared that toxic energy out of your space, you're going to see how much good was waiting to flow into your life. The Four of Wands is telling you that you deserve to celebrate. You deserve to be with people who are happy for your happiness, who support your success, who want good things for you without any ulterior motives. You deserve connections that are easy and joyful, not constantly difficult and confusing. You deserve to feel at peace, to feel secure, to feel loved in a way that doesn't require you to constantly question and analyze and wonder what's real. And you're going to have that, Pisces. This card is a promise that on the other side of this painful truth, there's genuine happiness waiting for you. The universe isn't just taking something away from you by revealing this person's lies. It's actually clearing space for something so much better to come in. Let me pull the next card to see what else the universe wants you to know. All right, the seventh card is the Queen of Pentacles, and this is such a powerful card to appear in your reading right now. The Queen of Pentacles is about self-sufficiency, nurturing yourself, practical wisdom, and creating abundance through your own efforts. She's grounded, she's capable, she takes care of business, and she takes care of herself. And what this card is showing me is who you're becoming through this experience, Pisces. Yes, this person has lied to you and hurt you. Yes, you're going through something difficult, but you're not going to come out of this broken. You're going to come out of this as the Queen of Pentacles, more grounded and practical and self-sufficient than you've ever been. One of the gifts of Pisces is your empathy and your ability to flow with life's currents. But sometimes that can make you too dependent on others, too willing to sacrifice your own needs for someone else's wants. The Queen of Pentacles is teaching you to balance that beautiful Piscean compassion with practical earth energy. She's teaching you to nurture yourself the way you've been nurturing others. I'm seeing that this experience is going to fundamentally change how you approach relationships and how you value yourself. You're going to become much more discerning about who gets access to your energy, your time, your resources, and your heart. You're going to be like the Queen of Pentacles, who's generous and caring, but also knows her worth and doesn't let people take advantage of her. This card is also about financial independence and material security. And I think part of your healing journey is going to involve focusing on building your own abundance, creating your own stability, not waiting for someone else to provide it for you. The Queen of Pentacles doesn't need a king to validate her or complete her. She's complete in herself. She has her own resources, her own power, her own kingdom. That doesn't mean you'll never want partnership or that you're going to become cynical and closed off. The Queen of Pentacles is actually very loving and very giving, but she gives from a place of abundance, not from a place of lack. She shares because she chooses to, not because she's trying to earn love or prove her worth. And that's where you're headed, Pisces. You're learning to come from a place of fullness within yourself. What's really coming through with this card is that you're going to get very practical about your life. No more living in fantasies or potential or promises of what could be. You're going to focus on what actually is, on building real things with real effort, on creating tangible results in your life. The Queen of Pentacles is all about manifestation, but it's grounded manifestation, not wishful thinking. I'm also seeing that you're going to become much better at reading people's actions instead of their words. The Queen of Pentacles is practical and observant. She watches what people do, not just what they say. She notices patterns. She pays attention to results. And that's a skill you're developing through this painful experience with this deceptive person. From now on, when someone makes you promises, you're going to wait to see if they follow through before you invest emotionally. When someone tells you who they are or what they want, you're going to believe them the first time instead of making excuses for them. When your intuition tells you something is off, you're going to listen instead of overriding it with hope. The Queen of Pentacles is also about creating a beautiful life for yourself. She surrounds herself with things that bring her joy. She takes care of her physical space. She nurtures her body and her spirit. And I think part of your healing is going to involve really investing in yourself and your own life in practical ways. Maybe redecorating your space, taking care of your health, pursuing hobbies and interests you've neglected, building friendships that are nourishing. This card is telling me that you're going to become the source of your own stability and security. You're not going to need to rely on someone else's promises because you're going to be creating real, tangible abundance in your own life. You're going to prove to yourself that you're capable, that you're strong, that you can take care of yourself beautifully. And interestingly, the Queen of Pentacles often appears when someone is about to attract a much healthier relationship because they've become whole within themselves. When you're no longer desperate for someone else to complete you or save you or provide for you, when you're already abundant and stable on your own, you attract a completely different caliber of person. You attract people who are also whole, who also have their lives together, who want to share abundance with you rather than take from you. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. Right now, the Queen of Pentacles is just telling you to focus on yourself. Focus on building your own garden, your own kingdom, your own beautiful life. Focus on becoming so solid and secure within yourself that no one can shake you with lies or manipulate you with empty promises ever again. What I love about this card for you is that it shows you're not going to become hard or bitter from this experience. The Queen of Pentacles is warm and generous and loving. She just has boundaries. She just has standards. She just knows her worth. And that's what you're learning, Pisces. You're learning that you can stay soft and compassionate while also being strong and self-protective. Let me pull another card to continue this message. The 8th card coming through is the Fool, and this might seem surprising after the Queen of Pentacles, but actually it makes perfect sense. The Fool is about new beginnings, fresh starts, stepping off the cliff into the unknown with faith and optimism. It's the 0 card in the tarot, the beginning of the journey. And what this card is telling me is that after you hear the truth, after you process the lies and the betrayal, after you go through the grief and the anger, you're going to be ready for a completely fresh start. Not just moving on from this person, but actually beginning a whole new chapter of your life. The Fool represents innocence, but it's not the same innocence you had before. It's innocence that's been through experience and chosen to remain open anyway. It's choosing to believe in good things again after you've been hurt. It's being willing to take risks again after you've been burned. But this time, you're taking those risks with the wisdom of the Queen of Pentacles grounding you. I'm seeing that this new beginning is going to feel both exciting and scary. The Fool stands at the edge of a cliff about to step off into thin air, and there's always some fear in that moment. But there's also this sense of adventure, of possibility, of not knowing exactly what's going to happen, but trusting that it's going to be good. What's really beautiful about the Fool appearing in this reading is that it shows you're not going to let this person's lies make you cynical or closed off. You're Pisces, you need to dream. You need to believe in magic and possibility and love. And the Fool is saying that you're going to get that back. You're going to be able to dream again, to hope again, to open your heart again. But the difference is that now you have all the lessons from the earlier cards in this reading. You have the awareness from the 7 of Swords that not everyone is honest. You have the discernment from the Queen of Pentacles to protect your resources and your energy. You have the practical wisdom from the 7 of Pentacles to assess whether your investments are paying off. So when you step off that cliff as the Fool, you're not doing it blindly or naively. You're doing it consciously, with your eyes open, choosing to believe in possibility while staying grounded in reality. The Fool is also about spontaneity and following your joy. And I think after being tangled up with this deceptive person, after all the heaviness and confusion and disappointment, you're going to crave lightness. You're going to want to do things just because they make you happy. Not because they're part of some grand plan or because you're trying to build towards something with someone else. I'm seeing travel with this card, or at least movement. You might literally take a trip somewhere after all this is resolved, somewhere you've always wanted to go, somewhere that represents freedom and new possibilities. Or it might be a metaphorical journey, a spiritual journey, an exploration of new aspects of yourself. The Fool carries a small bag, which represents traveling light, and I think that's going to be important for you, Pisces. You're going to need to let go of the heavy baggage this situation has created. All the anger, all the resentment, all the what-ifs and should-haves, you're going to need to put that down so you can move forward freely. That doesn't mean you have to forgive this person or forget what they did. The Fool isn't about pretending bad things didn't happen. It's about not letting those things define your future. It's about deciding that one person's lies don't get to steal your capacity for joy and hope and love. What I'm also getting from this card is that the universe has adventures waiting for you that you can't even imagine right now. The Fool doesn't know what's at the bottom of that cliff or what's going to happen next, and that's actually the beauty of it. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to know exactly where you're going or who you're going to meet or what opportunities are coming. You just need to be willing to take that first step into the new chapter. The Fool is often accompanied by a small dog in traditional imagery, representing instinct and intuition. And after everything you've been through, your intuition is going to be finely tuned. That little dog, your inner knowing, is going to guide you much more clearly than it could before because now you know what to listen for. Now you understand the difference between your intuition warning you and your fear trying to protect you from hurt. This card is also about being present in the moment rather than dwelling on the past or anxiously trying to control the future. And I think that's going to be an important practice for you, Pisces. Just being here now, enjoying what is, following what lights you up without needing to know where it's all leading. The Fool represents pure potential. Every single possibility is open to you. Every path is available. And that's where you're going to be once you've cleared out this deceptive connection and done your healing work. Standing at the beginning of your own journey, ready to create whatever life you want, without anyone else's lies limiting your possibilities. Let me pull the next card to see what else wants to come through. Okay, the 9th card is the Ace of Pentacles appearing again, but this time the energy is completely different. Earlier in the reading, this card represented the false promise this person dangled in front of you. But now, appearing near the end of the reading after all your growth and healing, it represents a real new beginning in the material world. This is the universe telling you that authentic opportunities are coming, Pisces. Real chances to build something solid and lasting. Genuine abundance. Actual stability. Not promises, not potential, not someday, but real tangible opportunities that you can grab onto and develop. The difference between this Ace of Pentacles and the earlier one is that now you have the wisdom to recognize what's real. You have the Queen of Pentacles' energy to nurture it properly. You have the Fool's willingness to take a chance on something new. All the pieces are in place for you to actually manifest something wonderful. I'm seeing that this could be a new job opportunity, a financial windfall, a business idea that actually takes off, a chance to buy property or invest in something meaningful, or even a new relationship that's built on solid ground from the very beginning. Whatever form it takes, this Ace of Pentacles is real. You'll know it's real because it won't just be words and promises. There will be actual evidence, actual action, actual progress. What's coming through strongly is that this opportunity is going to require you to trust yourself to recognize it and act on it. And because of everything you've been through with this deceptive person, you might be tempted to be overly cautious, to let good opportunities pass by because you're afraid of being fooled again. But the Ace of Pentacles is asking you to use your discernment, not your fear. You'll be able to tell the difference between a real opportunity and a fake promise now. Real opportunities come with concrete details, clear next steps, people who follow through on what they say they're going to do. Fake promises are all about potential and someday, and just wait a little longer. Your experience has taught you to distinguish between the two. This Ace is also about prosperity consciousness, about believing you deserve good things, about being open to receive abundance. And I think after being with someone who took from you while giving you nothing real in return, you might need to work on opening yourself up to genuine receiving again. The universe wants to give you good things, Pisces. You just need to believe you're worthy of them. I'm also seeing that this new beginning might involve using your natural Pisces gifts in a practical way. Maybe turning your creativity into income, your intuition into a service you offer, your compassion into work that helps others while also supporting you financially. The Ace of Pentacles is about grounding your dreams in reality, and you have so many beautiful dreams that deserve to be manifested. What I love about this card appearing here is that it shows you're not going to be stuck in victim mode or in a state of lack after this situation resolves. Yes, you've been through something painful. Yes, someone took advantage of you, but that's not your ending. Your ending, or rather your new beginning, is abundance and opportunity and genuine growth. The Ace of Pentacles is a gift from the universe, and it's often given to people who've been through hardship because they have learned to value real things over superficial glitter. You're going to appreciate authentic opportunities so much more now because you know what it's like to chase after empty promises. You're going to nurture real growth with care and attention because you understand how precious it is when something genuine actually takes root. This card is telling me that everything this person stole from you, your time, your energy, your trust, your resources, is going to be returned to you multiplied. Not by them, they're not capable of that, but by the universe, by life itself, by the natural law that when you finally clear out what's not serving you, space opens up for what is meant for you. Let me pull the final card to complete this reading for you. The 10th and final card I'm pulling is the Queen of Cups. And honestly, Pisces, this is such a perfect card to end your reading. The Queen of Cups is the Pisces card in many ways. She's deeply intuitive, emotionally mature, compassionate, and connected to her psychic abilities. She represents emotional mastery and the ability to navigate feelings without being overwhelmed by them. And what this card is showing me is that you're coming full circle. You started this situation as a Pisces who perhaps gave too much, who perhaps believed too easily, who perhaps let your compassion override your common sense. But you're going to emerge from this as the Queen of Cups, still compassionate and still intuitive, but now with boundaries and wisdom and emotional sovereignty. The Queen of Cups sits on her throne, calmly holding her cup, her emotions, without spilling them. She feels deeply, but she's not controlled by her feelings. She has access to profound emotional and intuitive wisdom, but she doesn't let others manipulate her through her emotions. And that's who you're becoming through this painful experience. This card is telling me that your intuitive abilities are actually going to be stronger after this. You're going to trust your psychic hits more readily. You're going to honor your emotional reactions instead of talking yourself out of them. You're going to be able to feel into situations and people and know immediately whether they're safe for you or not. The Queen of Cups is also a healer, and I think you're going to use what you've learned from this situation to help others who are going through similar things. Your compassion hasn't been destroyed by this person's lies. It's been refined. You're going to be able to hold space for people who are being deceived or manipulated because you understand exactly what that feels like. You're going to be able to guide people toward their own intuitive knowing because you've learned to trust yours. What's beautiful about this card is that it shows you're not going to become hard or closed off emotionally. You're going to remain open and loving and empathetic. But now you're going to be like the queen who sits on her throne, meaning you're going to come from a place of power and self-possession. You're not going to pour yourself out for people who aren't worthy of your emotional investment. The Queen of Cups represents emotional intelligence and maturity. She knows when to offer compassion and when to hold boundaries. She knows the difference between empathy and enabling. She can feel her feelings fully while also making wise decisions. And all of that wisdom is yours now, Pisces. This situation has forced you to develop emotional skills that will serve you for the rest of your life. I'm also seeing with this card that you're going to reconnect with your spiritual practices in a deeper way after this is all resolved. The Queen of Cups is deeply spiritual, connected to the divine feminine, comfortable in the realm of dreams and visions and intuition. And I think this whole experience has maybe shaken your spiritual foundation a bit, made you question things you used to believe in, but you're going to come back to your spirituality with a more mature understanding, a deeper connection, a more personal relationship with the divine. The Queen of Cups is also about self-love and self-care on an emotional level. She knows that she needs to fill her own cup before she can give to others. And I think that's going to be a crucial lesson for you moving forward, Pisces. You're going to learn to nurture yourself emotionally, to give yourself the love and understanding and patience you've been giving to others, including this person who didn't deserve it. What's really coming through is that this card represents you stepping into your full power as a Pisces. Not the wounded Pisces who gets taken advantage of because you're too trusting. Not the victim Pisces who always ends up hurt because you give too much. But the sovereign Pisces who understands that your sensitivity is a strength when it's paired with wisdom, that your compassion is a gift when it's given to worthy recipients, that your intuition is your superpower when you actually listen to it. The Queen of Cups knows her worth. She knows the value of what she offers, and she doesn't waste her emotional energy on people who can't appreciate it or who want to exploit it. That's where you're going, Pisces. You're becoming the queen of your own emotional realm, the sovereign of your own heart, the master of your own intuitive gifts. And from that place of emotional mastery and self-possession, you're going to attract completely different experiences into your life. You're going to draw in people who respect your boundaries, who value your emotional depth, who meet you at your level instead of trying to drain you or diminish you. You're going to create relationships, whether romantic or platonic or professional, that are based on mutual respect and genuine connection rather than manipulation and lies. The truth you're about to hear from this person's mouth, as painful as it will be, is actually the catalyst for your transformation into this Queen of Cups energy. Because hearing the truth is what's going to force you to stop making excuses, stop giving chances, stop overriding your intuition. It's going to be the moment when you finally put yourself first, when you finally say enough, when you finally step into your power. And Pisces, that's exactly what the universe wants for you. Not to be bitter or closed off, but to be powerful and boundaried while remaining soft and open with the people who've earned that access. To be the Queen of Cups in all her wisdom and grace and emotional sovereignty. So let me bring all of this together for you. You asked if you're ready to hear the truth from this person's mouth about how they swore and swore, but in the end they lied. And the cards are saying, yes, you're absolutely ready. More than that, you need to hear it. You need that clarity to move forward. The Seven of Swords confirmed that this person has been deliberately deceptive, playing games, thinking they're clever enough to keep manipulating you. The Ace of Pentacles showed you how they used false promises of stability and abundance to keep you hooked. The Five of Pentacles revealed the real cost of their lies, how you've been suffering and struggling while they played their games. The Seven of Pentacles showed you in that moment of assessment, tired from investing so much in something that isn't growing the way it should. But then the energy shifted. The Eight of Wands promised that the truth is coming fast, clarity is about to break through, and you're going to be able to move forward swiftly once you know what's real. The Four of Wands showed you the joy and stability waiting for you once you're free from this deception. The Queen of Pentacles revealed who you're becoming through this experience, grounded and self-sufficient and practical. The Fool told you that you're going to get your sense of possibility and adventure back, that you'll be able to start fresh without becoming cynical. The Ace of Pentacles returned to show you that real opportunities are coming once you've cleared out the fake ones. And finally, the Queen of Cups showed you stepping into your full emotional and intuitive power, becoming the sovereign of your own heart. This person lied to you, yes. They manipulated you, yes. They took advantage of your compassion and your hope, yes. But they didn't break you. They couldn't break you. All they did was force you to develop wisdom and strength and discernment that you might not have cultivated otherwise. They gave you the gift, unintentionally, of learning who you really are and what you're truly capable of. When you hear the truth from their mouth, and you're going to hear it soon, let it hurt. Let yourself feel angry and betrayed and disappointed. Let yourself grieve what you thought you had with them. But then, Pisces, let it go. Take what you've learned, hold on to your newfound wisdom, step into your power as the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles and the Fool, beginning a beautiful new journey. You deserve so much better than lies and manipulation. You deserve authentic love and genuine partnership and real opportunities. And all of that is waiting for you, I promise. This painful chapter is ending. Your beautiful new beginning is about to start. If this reading resonated with you, I'm sending you so much love and support as you navigate this situation. Trust yourself. Trust your intuition. Trust that you're being guided towards something so much better than what you're leaving behind. You've got this, beautiful Pisces. You really do.